Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. Hello guys. Hello guys. There's a couple of things that I want to share with you today. Just a few tips within Cricut Design Space to help you out when you're designing um, inside Cricut Design Space. So I have a blank canvas here. And the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is when you are utilizing your text and you're moving your letters around on your canvas and when you're welding letters together, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on text here on the left-hand corner or the left-hand side of my screen. And I'm just going to type in my name. And when you're working with text, sometimes when you're going to utilize the Weld functionality within Cricut Design Space, the best thing to do is to go ahead and unlock the proportions. And you do that just by clicking this little icon here on the left of the little box. And then use the little icon here on the right, which is like 4 little arrows pointing in each direction. And just drag that to open the font so you can see it really good. Okay, you want to be able to see it really good. So if you have the font small like this, you can't really tell what I'm about to show you with the Weld functionality. Okay, so we're just going to make it big like that. Okay, all right, so I'm going to duplicate this because I'm going to show you two things with utilizing movement of your letters. So this one, this box with my name Doris in it, we're gonna start out with letter space. Okay, so I want to move my letters to the left. Okay, I want to move them closer together. Now I want them touching, but I don't want to overlap them. Okay, so I'm just gonna click this down arrow right next to letter space. And I'm going to keep clicking that, and notice my letters are moving to the left. Now, some letters may start touching before others. As you can see, the D and the O, it's a little ways for them to get there. The O and the R is really close, so it's going to meet before these two, okay? And the same thing here, the R and the I, there's a little bit of space, and same thing with the I and this, the I and the S. So I'm going to keep clicking. Now my O and R is touching, but none of the other letters are, okay? So normally what people will do is they will keep shifting the letters, just like that. Now what you have here is an overlap of letters, okay? And the name looks distorted. Sometimes you can't tell because you have the name so small. You have the name so small, so it's always best for you to make it large, do your make your changes to the name or text or whatever you're using, and then take it back down to its normal size. So what I would recommend here is, even if I change this color for you, you can see the overlap better. Sometimes you can see it better on the lighter colors than the darker colors, but you can see that there's a lot of overlap here with this name now, okay? So what I'm going to do, or what you should do, is go back and this time use the letter space and use the up arrow to bring those letters back apart. Now, now I have um, the reason I tell you to make sure that the letters are not overlapping is because what happens is when you go to cut this, or not you cut it, but when you have Cricut to go in and cut this, you're going to have additional cuts in your letters and it's not going to look nice. Okay. So that's why you want to make sure that the letters are barely touching when you use Weld and not overlapping. So the way you can resolve this is um, you want to make sure that you ungroup here on the right side, ungroup this, and that way you can move the letters individually. Now, I do want to tell you, once you ungroup, you lose the functionality here of being able to change the font. So like if I ungroup this, once I ungroup it, I can no longer go here and change the font type to something else. Okay. So you want to make sure that you've made all changes you need to for the font type, because you will not be able to change this font. Like if you weld this and then say, "Oh, I don't like that font. Let me try a different font." You have to start over. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup it. And now it allows me to be able to drag each letter separately. And all I'm doing is making sure that they are barely touching, barely. And sometimes you have to get a little bit creative with the moving of them because not all are going to move easily for you to make that change. Okay. So now I have my name Doris, and the O and the I is going to be a little, difficult because you want to keep it where it's barely touching, but where you can still tell that it's a Doris. Okay. All right, so this looks pretty nice and it's barely touching here. So what I'm gonna do is once you get it to your desired state, you wanna make sure you go back and change this now to group and group it back together. So you can see how when I click on this name, I have the font where I can change it. When I click on this name, I no longer get that box. So I cannot make changes to the font anymore. So now when I weld this together, then I will have a very good output. Okay. I won't have to worry about extra cuts in there because I have my letters barely touching but not overlapping. Okay. Now, what I want to tell you is that when you are new to designing within Cricut Design Space, some people will tell you to weld everything. You do not have to weld everything. If I wanted to go in, if I wanted to go in and utilize this and say I've done everything I need to do to it, and now I can take it down in size. Okay, so that's the size I wanted it. Still looks like Doris. Everything is touching but not overlapping. I could go ahead and make this. And when I make it, I want to make sure that I click on attach. And what that does is it will allow Cricut to go in and cut out each one of these letters separately, but they will be connected. So it will be one word, one cohesive word, all grouped together. I won't have to worry about pulling up each letter, by itself. It's still going to be connected because I shifted those letters over to make them touch. So now when I click on make it, you can see Doris all connected. Okay. And you can also see if I had some extra cuts in here, they would be visible. So I'm going to do that so you can see the difference. Okay. I'm going to blow this up and I'm going to do Doris, and then I'm going to blow this one up and do the same thing. Oh, I could have used the one I already have. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to make this one overlap, okay? So you can see it on the next screen. Okay, so now I have Doris again. I'm going to go ahead and group it back together, okay? And I'm going to put it on a different color so you can see the overlap, okay? So again, you want to make sure you click on attach, and I want you to be able to see the difference in these. This one, there's no overlap. This one has a lot of overlap. Now when I click on make it, you can see the overlap here with the where I brought that R in. So there's going to be some extra cuts. When I cut this out, there's going to be some extra cuts. It's not as visible as I thought it would be with the lighter color. Let's see. But you would be able to see it. Oh, there it is. Yep, you would be able to see it once I go in to actually make this. You would be able to see those cuts. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that you don't have to weld everything. But if I were to go ahead and click on weld down here at the bottom, if I go ahead and click on weld, then this is all going to be one now instead of layers. Okay, it's all going to be one instead of layers. Okay, and the only reason that I would weld this, to be honest with you, is if I wanted to use it to slice something. If I didn't need to slice this, I wouldn't weld it. There's no purpose because my letters are already connected and they're already as one. So I don't have to worry about it being individual letters. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean by that. If I take and I wanted to put, I'm going to use a different shape. I'm always using the square. So let's use the star. I don't use the star very often. So let's say I wanted to do a star and I wanted to put my name in the middle of the star and slice it. Okay. A couple of things I would do is first off, I would highlight them both. As you can see here, I would come up to a line and I would say center horizontally and center vertically. That way I get my name in the middle of the star. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to move the star to the back. And that way Doris is in the front. Now I have two layers. And because I have two layers, I can now slice. Okay. So notice here on the bottom right hand side, slice is now available to me to use. So when I click on slice, you're going to get the slice results here on the right hand side. Okay. And I already know that what I want to use is this right here. I want the black star with my name carved out in the middle. So I can go ahead and I can click this and I can delete it. And I can click this and I can delete it. And there's my name inside the star. Okay. So that is how you use the slice functionality. Now, if I go and I take my other name that I had merged all the way over that looks a little funky because I brought that R and I over too far. If I take this and I want to use slice, I'm going to go ahead and bring it all down and it looks just like this one, right? And I go in, I get my shape, and this time I'm going to use a heart. Okay, so I want to take and I want to put Doris now inside this heart. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm going to click on them both, and then I'm going to go to align, center horizontally, and center vertically. Then I'm going to right click on the heart and move it backwards. Okay, so now I want to slice. Okay, I just did the same thing over here, right? So now I should be able to do that here. When I highlight both of these, notice slice is not an option. Slice is not an option because you can only slice two layers, two layers, and I have exceeded two layers because each one of these letters is individual. Okay, so it's not a deal breaker. All you need to do is just click on Doris and weld it, and now it's one layer. Now when I move it back over, and always go back in and line it up, center horizontally, center vertically, highlight them both, and now slice is available to me. And I already know that which one I want. So I can click the two layers that I no longer need. And now I have Doris sliced into a heart and sliced into a star. So I want to make sure that you understand why you would use weld. You do not have to weld everything, guys. Weld is because you want to make it one layer, and normally it's because you want to use it as a part of your slice. You want to use it to slice something, okay? So that is how you do that. Now you can go in and you can change this different colors, you know, because you got it like you want it. You can downsize it, you know, or make it larger or whatever, you know, you want to do with it. And at this point, Cricut will now send this to your cutting machine and it will cut out the star and it will cut out the name. Okay. So if I were going to put this on a t-shirt, then you want to always think about this square as like your t-shirt. Okay. So if I put this on a t-shirt, that's what it's going to look like. Okay. The inside of the letters will take on the color of the t-shirt. Okay, so that's how you use your letter spacing, your grouping of your letters and your ungrouping of your letters, how you go in and you take your font from multiple layers to bring it down to one layer by welding it and then using those two layers together to use the slice functionality. So if you ever have things highlighted and you're trying to use slice and slice is not an option, it is because you have more than two layers. And you these here, these are layers. Each one of these little squares is a layer. Okay. And you can see the word here, layers. Okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to do, is to come on and show you guys that. So now if I delete out these squares and I go in to make it, you're going to get two separate mats, or it's going to have you to put everything on two separate mats because you're working with two separate colors. But you'll put your red vinyl in, and then Cricut will cut this out in your red vinyl and cut out the letters or the name Doris. And then you would put in your next mat, or reload the mat you just used with your blue vinyl. And now Cricut is going to cut out the heart, and it's going to cut out each one of these, you know, cut out the letter or the names inside of the heart. Okay. So I just want to show you how to use that, guys, and to just help you to understand that you don't have to weld everything. Weld is used for a reason, and normally it's to make it one layer, and normally it's because you want to use it to slice something. Okay. All right, guys. So if you have any questions about this process, please feel free to let me know. I'm going to do a couple of videos like this to kind of help you with some things within Cricut Design Space. You guys know that I use Microsoft PowerPoint a lot, so I don't do a lot of designing inside Cricut Design Space because I think Microsoft PowerPoint, I don't have any system issues and things like that or any glitches in the system. So um, it's less headache for me, but I try to use Cricut Design Space to kind of help you guys with what you can and cannot do within Cricut Design Space. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. You guys know that I appreciate all of you that are currently subscribed to my YouTube channel. And I also appreciate those of you that are members in my Facebook group. And I'm going to go ahead and put my Facebook group name in here for those of you that are seeing my tutorial for the first time. I got to learn how to spell group first. So that's the name of my group, Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters. If you would like to join us, just send me a Facebook group request and we'll be able to get you on. So let's do, I'll just let you see what the group will look like. Okay, so this is my group, Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters. And as you can see here, it is a private group. So if you would like to join the group, then just send me a group request to Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters, and we'll be able to get you a part of our group. And I do keep the group small, and that's because I like to focus on teaching in the group. And I want to keep it to people that are interested in the crafting. Okay. All right, guys, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns in reference to what I've shown you here, then please, please, please reach out and let me know. You can either respond via the comments or you can always email me, and I'll put my email in here because sometimes people aren't comfortable with placing, their questions in the comments. So that is my email address, kendoris48@gmail.com. So you guys can see that a little bit better. But that's it, guys. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And my motto is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have a great day.